Former President Dr. Vaira Vīķe-Freiberga, thank you so much for joining us on AnewZ. I'd like to start by asking you about COP29. We're here in Baku. Can you tell me your reflections on the event so far and how important you feel it is that we reach some kind of agreement this week on the financing of increased climate action?
The whole point of COP29 has been envisaged as being one where financial decisions would be taken and commitments made that would lead to real on-the-ground action and changes starting tomorrow that are needed if we are to save the planet. It's as simple as that. So that the first week has been spent in laying out the various needs and necessities and desires of various both social groups, groups of countries, regions, geographical locations. There have been enormous numbers of bilateral discussions as well in terms of direct collaboration between countries that can complement each other with their climate needs. But this week now, until the end of the event, the hard negotiations are about to take place. They have to agree on commitments, financial commitments made by those countries that are able to contribute proportional to their, of course, to their resources and their abilities and their responsibilities. It's going to be a very hard negotiation. There are no absolute figures for what the world needs. It probably, whatever is decided, there will always be the possibility of saying, well, of course we need more, but the point is to reach a respectable level, one that is taken seriously by the countries concerned and the world at large, that steps are being taken, and so that both alleviation, mitigation, prevention, and of course, reduction of carbon emissions, all of that is taken into consideration and funds provided to those countries that simply do not have the resources to do it on their own, but who will most definitely be among those who suffer the most from the results of climate change and the impacts.
And can I ask you about this country and this region? Azerbaijan is in an interesting place geographically and geopolitically. It's one of those places that's able to hold dialogue with different points of view, different countries, different perspectives. How important do you see the role of this region when it comes to tackling problems like climate change?
They have, I believe, 9 different climate zones actually within the borders of the country, so that they have first-hand experience of how climate change impacts different microclimates and micro, if you like, not micro, but regions of various sizes. The interesting thing about Azerbaijan is that it's the first Muslim country that constituted itself as a republic in 1918 when it was first founded. It was unfortunately conquered by the Soviet Union. The possibility of dialogue to very different countries with different ideologies and different paths that they have chosen. The ability of this country just to survive as it has in many ways is remarkable because we see what's happening in Georgia and the invasion of its territory. We see what is happening in Ukraine, and these countries have been invaded and have lost their territory simply because they at one point were part of the Soviet Union. I myself come from Latvia, and Latvia, with our neighbors Estonia and Lithuania, managed to get out of the grips of the Soviet Union. In fact, we contributed to its collapse, starting with the Baltic Way already before And we are now part of the European Union, and we are part of the NATO alliance. We have a different view on things. Other countries do not have an alliance to protect them. They have to manage on their own and to think about their security and to secure it in different ways. I am impressed by the way Azerbaijan has managed to navigate really all the shoals that really menace any country that has had the misfortune of having had to spend decades under Soviet rule.
And turning to your own country of Latvia, Latvia itself has experienced some of the negative impacts of climate change. I wanted to find out a bit more about how the country itself is dealing with that and the strategies to mitigate and overcome some of these problems.
You might think, and many people used to joke at first about climate change and saying, well, we have such short summers, we will now have longer summers, we can go to the beach for a longer period of time. But in point of fact, one of the results of changes in the Baltic Sea is that we are having severe coastal erosion. We are losing significant amounts of territory. We're already a small country, and every year the sea chews away at our sandy shores. And even though the beaches are beautiful and so on, and this is something that you can't even stop it. It's the same as with small island countries. When the sea rises, the humans are powerless to stop it. You can do it when it's a few centimeters maybe, but it's very difficult. Another aspect that has touched Latvia is the impact of climate warming on trees. We do not have any sort of subterranean natural resources. Trees and forests and peat bogs are our natural resources. But you see, trees are impacted by changes in climate. The hardwood that was so much appreciated for the masts of earlier centuries, the Baltic pine, that grows tall and very strong because it grows in that particular range of temperatures. Similarly, the oak, of which many Scottish castles and other castles in Europe were built in previous centuries, hardwoods the quality of hardwoods is affected by the range of climate that one has. And so that the one big resource, the natural one that we have, is not immune at all to these changes.
Former President Dr. Vaira Vīķe-Freiberga, thank you so much for joining us on AnewZ.